What's up? The good news is that I finally remembered to click 1080p on the video app, so this one should be relatively clear. So in this one, I want to explain price action. I'm obviously I'm like a price action evangelist at this point. I want everyone to use it. I want everyone to do what works for them. I shouldn't say that, but I'm loving price action because it's easy. You don't have to overthink it, and it works. Today we went 5 for 5. I'm going to review the first 3 of those trades because the other 2 came during FOMC minutes today, and things were just going so fast that it's really kind of hard and pointless to try to explain that at this point, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to be breaking down these 3 trades. 2 of them happened here for QQQ, and the other one happened for SPY. So first for the QQQ ones. You remember we talked about letting a downtrend or letting an uptrend or downtrend form for an hour off of the open. So what I did was I broke these out into pictures so that you could kind of see what each trade was like, because all this stuff, you're probably like, what does that even mean? So let's go past the library. Okay, so the first trade was, I took a SPY 291C at 725. So this right here was 725. So remember, the first hour, so all these candles, we're trying to see what the trend of the day was. So we've got the start right here, and then we see another bounce, and then we see it hold there, and then we see it rise there. So this is enough for me, 3 points. I love when I see 3 points of support or resistance on the trend, 3 points trending up in this case. I know that that's a strong trend. So now I'm just waiting to see if we break through and hold any of the daily support resistance. These red lines are all daily support and resistances that I've already done. I update these every day with the low daily point and the high daily point so that I keep an updated chart of where I'm running into trouble, where I think that I want to find support, where that I want to break through. So going back to this, we see that I entered the trade, it was 725. So the reason why I entered at 725 was we're going along our uptrend, and I see here that this breaks above and then holds that level of support, right? This is 289 roughly, 288.5 roughly. So I know that that daily resistance could be potentially conquered because we closed above it. So I was waiting to see if we got a retest candle, and then boom, the next candle smashes through that level. It came down up a little bit and then continued to grow. So as it showed so much body to that candle, I knew that this level was done, right? I knew that level was done. And so I quickly entered that trade because my thought is if we're on the uptrend, I'm going to ride it to here. Because see how this daily support and resistance has a lot of space? Those are the places we want to be. We want to play with space, give it a lot of room for a good target. So I took the 291 knowing I'd cut it right around here, right around 290.87. So cutting it before I get to that, because we know that I picked up enough premium before it even gets there that I'm in the profit. So this candle breaks above. I'm in the trade on the end of this candle. My thought was it could potentially come back down here to the trend line, which would make me stay in. And then I would see if it still got over those candles. Or if it fell here, I'd stop out. Because remember, you stop out one level below where you got in. So getting in here means I'm stopped out here if it closes 5 minutes below and retest. Lucky me, we got another huge candle that went to the top. So then I sold once it touched right here. So I picked up on that one, I think like 30% profit. But what I want to stress is I would have waited for this candle to come back down and retrace to the trend line, because I understand that I'm getting in it for the trend that's going up throughout the day. If it had broken down beneath, so be it. But I like this trend with 3 points, and then I was rewarded for that. So that's why you have to wait an hour to really establish your trends. I got in about an hour after open, and it paid off for me. Now, let's say that I'd gotten in, or I'd stayed in there and gotten greedy. I just would have watched as it went down here. One daily support resistance beneath the target, and I would have cut here. Right? You want to move backwards one, or you want to move forwards one when you're setting your stops or your targets. So the next trade, so that was the trade with the blue, right? 725 entry. I sold here at 734. The next trade I got in was, I believe, actually right there at 735. That's why I kept that highlighted. So I got in this trade at 735. Why? Got in this trade at 735 because you can see it breaks out of the trend there in a major way, right? So, as I mentioned before, when you see a top at a daily support resistance, immediately follow a trend break. This was that trade. What does that tell you? That tells you that was a strong level of rejection, strong enough to break it out of its trend. And on a steep trend, that's an easy ride down. Got a trend failure that ran into a daily support resistance. We like two things, right? It's kind of like creating a trigger. We like to see a trend lead to a breakthrough of a daily support resistance. That's how we know we're going for our next target. Or to the put side, we like to see a trend reverse and break out of the trend. So I saw this strong trend break, right? It was like 735 that the candle started outside of the trend. Because I saw that candle start outside of the trend with a wick, I knew that the trend was broken, and I wanted to take it down to here. Now, I picked up a little extra premium because of that next candle. You could see it got as low as here. So I wrote that down, and then it came back up. And remember, my stop is up here. My stop is going to be back up. I'm sorry. My stop is going to be all the way back up there, which seems crazy, but it's the next one up that could provide resistance. So if I'm down like 40% here, but the level's solid at all, then I know that I could get out at a better position here. Or if it breaks through there, I just got to eat it. That's why you keep your sizing the same, so that you can handle that. So anyway, it breaks out of downtrend here. I hold, and I honestly was planning to cut right here, the next one, but the candle just boomed down like pretty immediately. And so I got to sell right there, right? Because I've already broken through my level. It happened fast, and I'm just out of that trade. So I think that trade was 28% is what it was. I have it written down here. So that was a 28% trade. So as you can see, all I've done is ride the trend up for calls, saw the trend break, bought puts, right? I love doing those back-to-backs where you can ride it up and ride it down. So going back to our chart, you can kind of see here. Let me get this out the way just so it's a little clearer for you. Got a trend ride up and then a trend break down. It's that easy. These are your walls. Daily support resistance, daily support and resistance. That's like your chess piece can move within that area. Sell it at the top of that, buy puts, sell it at the bottom of that. Granted, it's not always that easy, but it works out a lot. Okay, so the next thing is SPY trade. This little yellow circle is like super annoying that it's doing. I don't know why it's doing that. So for this SPY trade, the SPY trade was interesting because, hold on, let me go real quick. I'm going to go make sure I have the right information here. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so I grabbed the SPY 394p at 9:09 a.m. So here it is, 9:09 a.m. So why did I grab that? So this is where, with price action, you also can use your trends, not just as points to break through, but also to follow along. So I'm going to remove this uptrend, even though that was what I was looking at to start the day, right? But I was focused on QQQ instead. Like, I just trade them back and forth, and honestly, mostly just depends on what screen I'm on at the time, because they trade pretty similarly. So here, the reason I got in here at 9:09 was because we see this trend, 1 point, 2 point. Now look here. you see the daily support and resistance and the trend meeting at the same place. So this is a big make or break moment. If this candle had closed above this trend line at 395.5, I would have gotten calls, probably 397s, sold them here and picked up a profit. But when I see this failure both at the trend and at the daily support resistance, that means that we're going to have some good downward pressure. So I stayed in it. I let it retest the trend again. I stayed in it. And I could have let it retest the trend, right? But I didn't want to get greedy. I hit from here, I hit target one. And target one was so close to the trend, I figured, fuck it. Like, let's see if the trend is stronger than the daily support resistance, which it seemed like it was. So then it just sliced through this next level, which would have been my target. And so I just sold it like right toward the end of that candle. So that's how that shakes out. And then look at this downtrend right here. Once it's broken, I didn't enter this trade, but just to let you know. So see how it's on the daily support resistance, but it's broken the downtrend? And then look at that. It goes up. So your trend lines, or we call it like TGW. So we're LVG, Louis Vuitton gang. And we call it like TGW, Trends Gone Wild. Because they like work. Breaks the trend. It's that easy, and just follow your daily support resistances as a roadmap. I think I'm going to try to do this live, either in our Discord or on Spaces or something, in case it's confusing, but you could DM me at your boy Melt. Like, it's not like I make money on this. I just do it to help people, so you can feel free to DM me. I got helped by someone, so I try to pay it forward. So good luck.